I hope everybody's doing well. I had an old guide on bear from 12 years ago reach out to me, and he asked me some questions about columns. His name was William Wortham. He's a great guide on bear, and it was a pleasure to hear him again and give me some motivation for the next video, which is going to be about how I teach columns. The first thing that you have to do is you have to get your element leaders alone with the guide on bear, with the alternate guide on bear, and with the A-Flight guide, because the A-Flight guide has column movements from the guide on bear position that they need to know. So what I try to do is I try to hit this before drill 3 is on the actual WAS, the weekly activity schedule. So this is just what I do. So maybe it's on like a Saturday, maybe they're doing RLAs, and I'm like, hey, you know, the element leaders, guide on bear, A-Flight guide, alternate guide on bear, get your cracks downstairs. And I'm going to be teaching you some drill real fast. So I'll take them downstairs. And what I normally teach is columns from a halt first, because the marching will be almost automatic. They still need to probably do it, but if you do the halt hits immediately, it's money and it's easy and it saves so much time. Let's talk about the column left and the column half left. Now remember, the flight is going to be dressing to the left, so you got to make sure that anytime you call this command from here on out, you might want to remind them, dress to the left, dress to the left, dress to the left, dress to the left. So I usually, my cadence will be column left, hut, hut, 2, 3, 4, hut, 2, 3, 4, dress to the left, dress to the left, left, right, left, forward, arch, dress back to the right, hut, 2, 3, 4. I'll do a lot of verbal cues to help the flight really get it. So I want you to imagine that all the key personnel for columns are downstairs. Your element leaders, your guide on bear, A-Flight guide, and your alternate guide on bear. We're all downstairs. I'll start with the column left from a halt. And I'll start with the first element leader. I'll show them what it looks like, and then they'll do it. And then I'll show the second element leader what it looks like, with the first element leader participating and showing. And I'll show the third element leader, and then they'll participate. Allow them to make mistakes. Get all the goofy stuff out now. And I hope your element leaders are coordinated, because if they're not coordinated, you're going to be pulling out your hair. And then the fourth element leader, and then the guide on bear. I'll do the guide on bear position. So you could do a couple different variations with the guide on bear. What I do is, if I'm the guide on bear, after my second pivot, I'm not trying to run, number one. I teach my guide on bear not to run. Just take your normal 24-inch steps. Don't worry, the rest of the flight is going to be taking 12-inch steps so that you can catch up. And I'll get really close to the fourth element leader on that column left from a halt, so I can do pivot, pivot, and get right in front of them. If I'm normal interval away from them, I suggest they take 3 steps and then pivot. So 1 or 3, it's as many steps, but normally 1 and 3 are usually money. But remember, that's not IP. So you could do however you want to do with your guide on bear. So that's your column left from a halt. Now a column half left. This is what I teach. The guide on bear is in a blind spot when you call column half left march. The first pivot, he cannot see the fourth element leader. And a lot of times, the guide on bear will guess pivot where the fourth element leader is. Don't do that. What I do is I say, hey, and I know everybody's supposed to take a 45-degree pivot. You could do this. But this is what I do. As soon as if I'm the guide on bear, column half left, arch from the halt, I'll pivot, and then I'll veer a little bit out a little bit, so the fourth element leader can catch up. And once I see the fourth element leader at my peripheral vision on my left, I'll march right beside him, like shoulder to shoulder or about normal interval away. And as soon as he disappears from my peripheral, I know the angle that the flight is taking. I tell my guide on bears, if it's column left or column half left, you're going to pivot to your left. If I call column right or column half right, you're going to pivot in front of the fourth element leader to the right. So keep that in mind, because I don't know if you've ever seen a guide on bear. They'll just pivot in the wrong direction, end up in the middle of the flight. So that's how I got them to understand, hey, he called column right. I know I'm going to pivot to the right to get in front of the fourth element leader, and vice versa. Now that column half left is done, it's going to take at least 10 iterations, 15 iterations, because what you're going to see is for a column half left, remember they're dressing to the left, so they're not used to it. However, if they lift their left arm up for the column left and the column half left, because they're dressing to the left. So remember, if you dress to the left, you're responsible for the interval to your left. Hope that makes sense. So they get their left arm up. And if they start to close up, tell them to keep their left arm up the entire time, and they'll feel the veering. They'll feel that they have to veer more out to the right to not smash the person to the left, excuse me. So here we are. Their left arm is up. And then here's something else. I do a verbal cue, excuse me. What I normally do is I'll say, hey, look, I'm gonna give you a verbal cue to when to take 24-inch steps. This is IP. So I'll go column half left, heart, hut, 2, 3, 4, hut, 2, 3, 4, wait, wait, wait. And here we go. Hut, 2, 3. So when I say another set of cadence loud, the element leaders and the guide on bear know when to just take a full 24-inch step. I know what it says in the lesson plan, that once the rank has their dress, they just go. But sometimes you'll see it like they think they have it and they really don't, and the other one's not ready yet. But my verbal cue gives them like a time limit. Hey, you got this much time before you better start taking 24-inch steps. So again, this is IP. So take it for what it's worth, but my element leaders normally love it when I give that verbal cue to take a 24-inch step. Because they can take as many 12-inch steps until they think they're ready to take a full 24-inch steps. And guess who can't see that the ranks have their appropriate dress and their to their left on that column half left or that column left? The guide on bear can't see. So it also helps the guide on bear to know when to just take off. I also will use this to make sure the guide on bear on a column half left always takes half steps. So I'll be like, column half left, hard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll wait. I'll be like, boom, 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 boom. Hut, toe. So make sure that the guide on bear knows that they need to take half steps after every single column. All right, for column right and column half right, this is just what I do with my guide on bear. It's a lot easier because they're dressed to the right. The guide on bear pivots a lot faster. I tell them 3 steps and then get in front of the fourth element leader. Why? Because the fourth element leader is taking one 24-inch step and then taking those half steps. Sometimes the guide on bears, they wait way too long to pivot in front of the fourth element leader. And now they're so far ahead, and the fourth element leader can't, catch up and get his proper distance because he's already taken half steps already. So the guide on bear has to establish the distance as he pivots in front. So I'd say 3 steps. So I'll be like, column right, hard, step 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and pivot in front. That's usually what I say. So try the 3 steps for the column half right and the column right. Hopefully it's magical. Now for the column half right from a hold, what I normally will do is, you remember that verbal cue? You don't have to wait as long because the guide on bear is already there already. And the first element leader is probably going to get there much faster than the guide on bear would do for a column half left. I'll call the cadence quicker. So I'll be like, column half right, heart, hut, 2, 3, 4, hut, 2, 3, 4. I'll make sure the first element leader's there. I'll make sure the guide on bear is there. And then out of I won't wait the full 8 counts of silent. I'll go right into it again. So let me go back and so you know what it now sounds like. Column half right, heart, hut, 2, 3, 4, hut, 2, 3, 4, hut, 2, 3. I'll just, because it's the verbal cue to go. And that's what I do, even on control. And normally when I'm told with controllers, they're like, man, your column halves were really, really sharp. And they don't know the verbal cue. So it looks good. And I try to choreograph everything and set my people up for success so it looks good and professional and obvious to my element leaders and guide on bear when to take that full 24-inch step after those column halves. So hopefully this is helping everybody. Now, then if I had to touch the element leaders up just to make sure that we're ready to apply, I'll keep my flight upstairs in the day room, maybe for about 10-15 minutes, just to make sure that they know what they're doing so that my flight's not waiting on their knees or whatever like that, and it seems like I don't have control. So I always prep this before the flight gets engaged. Now, say the flight is, the whole flight, all the remaining trainees are downstairs. I will do this one element at a time. So this is what it looks like for here. So say I'm doing column left from a halt for the remaining individuals. So I'll be like, column left, harsh, pivot, 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 and I'm pointing and pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot, and I'm saying that. And then for the second element, I'm like, go column left, harsh, 1 and 2, 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 and they're all just going. So I'm saying 1 and 2, and they know that when I say 1 and 2 on that 2, they better be pivoting on that. And then for the third element on the column left from a halt, I'll be like, column left, harsh, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 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 3 and 4. And then for the fourth element, I'm like column left, harsh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, so that they all understand it. So for my column halves, I usually will teach that before the full columns. So when I teach count off, they're counting their ranks. So if they know their rank number, they should know when to pivot. So this is how I teach column half lefts super fast. I'm like, column half left, harsh, and then I'll start saying first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank, sixth rank. And I'm looking at every single rank pivot at the same time for the column halves, because there's only one pivot and they pivot by the ranks. So that's how I teach the column halves sometimes in the first week of training. I'll teach the element leaders how they need to do their thing in the guide on bear and the A-Flight guide. And hopefully I'll have the second guide on bear already named out already, maybe. And then I'll teach the column halves super fast when I teach count off and drill 2. So I hope that helps. I hope it wasn't too confusing. Hey, I appreciate the ones that, listen to this video. I hope this video does help people. And remember, if you need me, people know me. I will come, provided that you let leadership know, just to give people another perspective. Because sometimes seeing it and hearing it's not enough. Sometimes you need to actually see how I do things more intimately. And you need to be put in a position where you can grow from it. All right, God bless. Take care.